which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Cheryl Ferris, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the May 21st issue of the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And we'll begin with Marilla Board denies Stoli shelter permit. A proposed shelter for victims of domestic violence and human trafficking has been defeated in the town of Marilla. The town board unanimously denied an application for a special use permit to convert a former bed and breakfast business at 11411 Stoli Road to a shelter the night of Thursday, May 14th. Before voting, the board heard comments during a public hearing in the town of Marilla Community Center from 14 residents, 12 of whom opposed the idea. Several residents voiced safety concerns. They fear violent confrontations if abusive husbands or criminals try to recapture victims. A resident who lives next to the property made his worries known. "Do I have to start putting cameras up for my security?" asked Robert Puckett. A Wendy Lane homeowner wondered if criminals who traffic women might attack her if her husband dies and she lives alone. "I will not feel safe here," said Lynn Blanchard. Another resident backed the proposal and, while starting to cry, asked why others fear it. "These women need help," said Ellen Kubiak of Town Line Road. "They're not out to hurt anyone." The William and Diane Hine Foundation, a nonprofit organization, proposed the shelter on May 6, 2025. A special use permit application the organization submitted in December requested up to 10 women in the 5,400 square foot house. Each victim would have resided there for 12 to 15 months. A planning board member criticized the organization's leaders for not stating their names when they attended meetings. "To me, that is not transparent," said Deb Zimmerman, who lives on Town Line Road. In an effort to explain the organization's intent, Sean Hopkins, the attorney representing the foundation, spoke to the crowd. He argued the property fits the criteria for that type of use. He mentioned a retired law enforcement officer would guard the building and guidelines would be set. "The board has the ability to impose reasonable restrictions," he said. After the public hearing, Supervisor Earl Gingrich, Jr., peppered Hopkins with a series of questions. He began by asking him if he is an honest and trustworthy person, then asked if he is familiar with People Against Trafficking Humans of Western New York, and if he knew individuals who may belong to that organization. Hopkins refused to answer some of the questions for legal reasons and told Gingrich he resented being questioned about his trustworthiness. As Gingrich continued, Hopkins asked why the questions were necessary. "This is not a cross-examination," he said. Gingrich then told him to shut up as he continued with his list of questions. In denying the special use permit request, the board cited safety, the applicant's lack of transparency, timing of the application's filing, and an apparent deliberate attempt to conceal the true applicant. After the vote, the crowd cheered and applauded. In other matters, the board adopted a law establishing a year-long moratorium on motocross tracks and courses, accepted a lease agreement with the Marilla Historical Society, allowed the East Coast Malinois Club, a nonprofit dog training organization, to use the soccer fields on Eastwood Road, authorized the Highway Department to purchase a 2027 Kenworth truck for no more than $346,466, and certified the results of a referendum to extend the town supervisor's term from 2 to 4 years. The measure failed, 129 to 110. And now Iroquois School Board approves water treatment plant reconstruction project. The Iroquois Central School District will rebuild the water treatment plant serving its main campus on Girdle Road this summer, following approval from the Board of Education. During a meeting Tuesday, May 12th, the school board approved using approximately $232,000 from the district's 2012 repair reserve to fund the project. The remaining balance of the estimated $241,155 cost will come from the district's general fund. American Contracting and Environmental Services will complete the work. The water treatment plant services the high school, middle school, intermediate building, and transportation department. Business manager John Wolski said unusually cold temperatures in January and February placed significant strain on the aging water system infrastructure. It was a 24-hour-a-day job this winter, taking care of it and making sure everything was defrosted, Wolski said. We haven't had cold like that in quite some time. Wolski said heaters were used throughout the winter to keep water moving through the system because the building housing the equipment is not insulated. District officials said the existing equipment was last installed in 1997. The district submitted the reconstruction project to the New York State Education Department as an emergency project and hopes to receive approximately 71% in building aid reimbursement. The 2012 repair reserve account will be closed following withdrawal. District officials noted the district also maintains a second repair reserve established in 2023 that currently contains approximately $204,000. The district last used repair reserve funds in June 2025 for several maintenance projects. More than $32,000 was used to repair heating systems at Wells Primary School and the high school. Nearly $40,000 funded gymnasium floor refurbishment work at the high school, including sanding, sealing, and removal of the old logo, while an additional $3,500 was used to replace the middle school gym floor logo. Karner representative gives village an update on historic register application. Clinton Brown of Clinton Brown Architecture, PC, spoke to the Village Board of Trustees during the public comment period of the Monday night meeting on May 18th to share updates on the process his company has undertaken to have a section of East Aurora listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The process is being privately funded The proposed East Aurora Downtown Historic District spans 3 blocks of Main Street, from Pine Street to Whaley Avenue. It also encompasses properties on Olean Road, Riley Street, and Elm Street. There are approximately 5 buildings in the district who are non-contributing, which Brown said are too new or had their appearance irretrievably altered. This is what we would call a highly intact historic district because there are so few buildings deemed non-contributing, Brown said. Brown said that a formal nomination would be delivered to the village board in the next 2 weeks for their revision and comment. The same nomination would be delivered to the State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO. SHPO will contact each of the property owners within the proposed district, who will have the opportunity to comment in support of, or against, or not comment at all. The village board will have the same options. Brown said he believes these districts are important for community pride. Commercial building owners with contributing buildings who undertake a substantial rehabilitation will be eligible for a federal income tax credit of 20% of the cost of that rehabilitation if they work with SHPO on the project. That being said, there are no new restrictions for any property owner who wishes to rehabilitate or renovate a building in the district if they do not wish to use the tax credit. They would only be subject to existing local code restrictions. Planning and zoning alone does not protect historic character, Brown said. Brown said that after the solicitation of opinions is received, a presentation to SHPO will be scheduled on Wednesday, September 9th. The meeting is open to the public, and individuals can watch via Zoom and comment if they wish to. If SHPO moves the application forward, it will go to the National Park Service, where it will take 2 to 3 months to confirm the listing in the National Register. It really doesn't change anything on our planning, zoning, what we're doing, Mayor Luke Wachensky. It's surprisingly not restrictive for the property owners. Brown said that private property owners of listed buildings have no obligation to open their buildings to the public. The Village Board will meet again at 7 p.m. Monday, June 1st at the Aurora Municipal Center on Oakwood Avenue. Wales Town Board approves solar project on Big Tree Road. The Wales Town Board recently approved a solar energy project on Big Tree Road following several months of discussion and review. New Energy Solar 10, LLC, a subsidiary of National Energy Development, submitted an application in 2025 for a special use permit to construct the project at 13748 Big Tree Road. According to the application, the company plans to develop, construct, own, and operate the solar facility for 35 years after completion. The project is expected to generate 3 megawatts of electricity for off-site use by utility customers. Town officials said the project will be located on the lower elevation of a 204-acre farmland parcel and will not be visible from neighboring properties or the roadway. Before granting approval, the board accepted the project's proposed decommissioning plan. Construction is expected to take between 14 and 18 months. In other business, Code Enforcement Officer Daniel Whitehead informed the board that the town had identified a dog kennel in Grand Island that could provide services for the town when needed. "We can sign a contract immediately," Whitehead said. "It has been inspected and insured through New York State AG and markets." Whitehead said the kennel would likely be needed for only 2 or 3 dogs annually. The town had previously explored working with a dog service in Wyoming County, but the request was denied by county officials. Wyoming County had concerns that we would run into a hoarding situation, and the county would not be able to accommodate that, Supervisor Tim Howard said during a previous meeting. The board also approved renewal of the Williamson Law Book contract for building inspector software, authorized Highway Superintendent William Swires to attend highway school in Ithaca for $800, renewed an Easy Pass account for 1 highway department truck, and reappointed Britt Donnelly to another 5-year term on the planning board. Officials also canceled the workshop meeting originally scheduled for Tuesday, May 26th. The next regular meeting of the Wales Town Board will take place at 7 p.m. Tuesday, June 9th at Wales Town Hall, 12345 Big Tree Road. And from the Erie County Sheriff's Report, turkey crashes into residential window. Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded to residents of Four Rod Road in Wales that reported a turkey which crashed through a window on May 12th. The turkey was successfully removed from the home and set free in the backyard. In other area calls handled by the Erie County Sheriff's deputies out of the Clarence and Alma substation, May 9th, an unlocked vehicle was entered during the overnight hours with items taken on Bullis Road in Marilla. May 10th, a 35-year-old female from East Aurora was charged with DWI and multiple vehicle infractions after a traffic stop was conducted on the intersection between Jamison Road and Seneca Street in Alma. May 11th, a hit-and-run accident that occurred on Kinsley Road in Alma and resulted in a damaged mailbox is being investigated. May 12th, a vehicle was rear-ended while traveling northbound on Maple Road in Alma, causing minor damage to both vehicles involved. A vehicle left the roadway and struck 3 mailboxes on Girdle Road in Alma. May 13th, Traffic was blocked for a tow truck operator who was attempting to retrieve a vehicle that went off the road on Centerline Road in Wales. May 15th, multiple motorcycles were reportedly revving their engines and speeding down the street on the intersection between Broadway and Mechanic Streets in Alden. A vehicle was rear-ended on Bowen Road in Elma. The operator of the striking vehicle was ticketed for following too closely. A minor fire believed to be caused by electrical issue was investigated on South Protection Road in Holland. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now let's turn to the Aurora Police Report. A report of an altercation in a Main Street parking lot was reported at 5 p.m. Saturday, May 9th. According to the report, a 45-year-old female from East Aurora, who is the complainant, and a 17-year-old male subject were having a verbal argument in the police station parking lot. Both parties were separated. The complainant said that she had reported earlier that the subject and another unidentified teenage male subject had been bullying her 11-year-old son in the area of Tannery Brook on Riley Street. The complainant also said that one of the two subjects had reportedly pushed her son into a creek near the Classic Rink, and the victim called her frantically, saying the same individuals from the earlier complaint were harassing him again. The complainant responded to the area where she confronted the 17-year-old subject, reportedly grabbing him by the shirt. The complainant advised that she called the police and followed the subject to the station. According to the report, the subject stated he had been with his friend on the railroad tracks, cleaning up garbage and throwing rocks into the water. The subject said that a group of kids younger than him were reportedly arguing with the two subjects. The subject stated that the complainant had confronted him, grabbing him by the shirt, and that he had recorded the interaction with his phone. The 11-year-old victim's clothing and shoes were wet while he was interviewed. He stated that he had sustained a cut on his right foot from being shoved from behind into the water. The complainant had a picture on her phone of both subjects, which was forwarded for evidence. The 17-year-old subject's mother was contacted and advised of the incident, and she arrived at the station to pick up the subject. The victim and complainant declined a medical evaluation. All parties involved were advised that the area they were in was the private property of the Buffalo-Pittsburgh Railroad, and they should not be trespassing. A canvass of the area in an attempt to locate the second subject was unsuccessful. The complainant stated she did not want to pursue harassment charges on behalf of her son at this time. In an unrelated incident, a 41-year-old male complainant and 13-year-old female victim, both from East Aurora, met with police on Monday, May 11th, to discuss an incident that occurred over the past 2 weeks in a group chat that included the victim. According to the report, the victim stated she was texting with friends in a group chat when her neighbor and a fellow classmate at East Aurora Middle School started sending messages to the group. The 13-year-old male subject began requesting everyone in the group to send explicit images of themselves, to which the group declined and told the subject to stop. Eventually, other children involved in the group stopped responding to the subject, and he stopped messaging. On May 7th, the victim received multiple FaceTime call requests from the same text message group, which she declined. The victim reportedly finally decided to answer the call to see who was calling. There was only one individual on the call, but they had their camera turned off. The victim recognized the number as belonging to the subject and recognized his voice when he started calling. The subject repeatedly asked for explicit images and reportedly threatened the victim. The victim hung up the call but rejoined after additional call requests. At some point during the call, a 12-year-old female joined, and the subject confirmed with her that he had made the previous statements. On May 8th, the subject began texting the group chat again, and the victim confronted him about his threatening statements. The subject told the victim that it was just a joke and the victim stated it wasn't funny. The subject continued to harass her through text. The repeated text messages and phone calls from the subject made the victim feel harassed, and the statements he made reportedly bothered her a great deal. The victim showed screenshots of some of the text messages sent by the subject, but stated the chat had been deleted, so she could not show the rest of the messages. The victim later sent the screenshots to police via email. A sworn deposition was taken from the victim, during which both she and her parents requested to press charges against the subject and obtain a stay-away order of protection against him. At 9 p.m. May 8th, the subject's legal guardian was contacted via the phone, and it was requested that she bring the subject into the station for the interview. The guardian declined to come to the station due to the time of the night and the subject already being in bed. An agreement was made to meet at the station on May 12th to conduct an interview and complete necessary paperwork. The school resource officer was made aware of the incident for a follow-up with middle school administration. The investigation remains pending. 70th Kiwanis Chicken Barbecue heralds the beginning of summer. The Kiwanis Club of East Aurora hosted 70th Chicken Barbecue on Wednesday, June 3rd at Hamlin Park, and as the saying goes, the more things change, the more they stay the same. What stays the same is the concept of the event. It has been from the beginning a community-wide dinner and gathering. The Kiwanis Chicken Barbecue kicks off the summer season by not only providing generous funding for the Boys and Girls Club of East Aurora and local nonprofits, but also strengthening the bonds that keep a community strong and cohesive. The first mention of a Kiwanis Chicken Barbecue was in a June 13, 1956 East Aurora Advertiser story. That broiler barbecue last night at Hamlin Park, under the auspices of the Kiwanis Club for the benefit of the Boys Club Building Fund, was just like an old-fashioned neighborhood get-together. With 2,150 meals served, it seemed that almost every resident of the community attended, wrote editor Riley Prosser. He also listed the entertainment of the evening, several musical ensembles, both vocal and instrumental, and softball games between Lions, Rotary, and Kiwanis Club members, although you wonder how many Kiwanians you could find that didn't have a job at the cookout. The article went on to praise the Kiwanians, who worked like Trojans, and even the oldsters continued their tasks until the job was completed. All the committees and workers did a bang-up job. As a kid growing up on Oakwood Avenue in the 1950s, I can attest to the whirlwind of activity on barbecue day that soon resulted in the aroma of roasting chicken basted with barbecue, co-originator John Birkeland's secret marinade wafting our way and over much of the village. All through high school, many of us members of the Boys Club spent that afternoon moving tables and setting up chairs to ready for the throngs that would soon arrive. It was the day when townsfolk I knew only by their professions, ministers, doctors, shop owners, tradesmen, policemen, teachers, rolled up their sleeves to become a barbecue team, feeding the community and raising money while having what seemed to be a really good time. Nothing has changed in that respect. As in the past, staging the Kiwanis Chicken Barbecue brings all segments of the local population together. Kiwanians, made up of many local business owners, elected and appointed officials, and civic stalwarts of all stripes, work for months in advance to organize the event. Then, as the moment draws nearer, help arrives from the Boys and Girls Club staff, the high school's Key Club, Builders Club, National Honor Society, the Action Club, and more. East Aurora's Fire Department, Police Department, and Department of Public Works all pitch for the setup, operation, and cleanup. Kiwanians past and present show up and take positions at their customary posts. While the cooking is handled by BW Barbecue instead of by the Kiwanians as it was in the old days, it's a busy scene at Hamlin with all hands on deck, preparing the site, packing dinners with chicken halves and sides, getting them to the park diners and takeout customers, working toward the moment when the fire department safely douses the charcoal. Said Sean Cunningham, barbecue co-chair with Grace Mybohm. Without the help of the high school kids and the volunteers, the public servants, we wouldn't be able to pull it off. A few things have changed, however. While Kiwanis still sells around 2,500 dinners, that total is down from the record highs in the 90s that reached 6,500. Although for many years the Kiwanis event was the barbecue you thought of when the word was mentioned, chicken barbecues have become a fundraising go-to, with churches, schools, sports boosters, etc. hosting them, seemingly year-round. And lifestyles have changed, with families finding their calendars more jammed with activities than ever. That's led to the biggest change. Once upon a time, the vast majority of barbecue patrons ate at rows of tables in the park and stayed for music or ball games, or just to be with friends and neighbors. These days, a greater percentage of patrons utilize the takeout stands on South Grove Street, a system the Kiwanians run with experienced efficiency, getting dinners in the hands of drivers and sending them off to eat at home or at the sports venue. Either way, the Kiwanis Chicken Barbecue remains the official beginning of the summer social season and a good way to understand what makes the community special. All proceeds benefit youth nonprofits in town. Any food left over goes to shelters or food pantries. Tickets this year are $17 pre-sale, $19 at the door, available at Bank of Holland, Larwood, Pharmacy, The Advertiser, M&T Bank, Reed's Liquors, Ron Jewelry, and the law offices of Bennett, DeFilippo, and Kurtzholz, or from any Kiwanis member. Venmo will be accepted as payment at the park. Kiwanis will deliver orders of 5 or more within a 10-mile radius. And from the Life and Leisure section, Chamber launches pre-sidewalk sale event. Greater East Aurora Chamber of Commerce will launch Sun to Sunset in EA, a new village-wide shopping and strolling event from noon to 8 p.m. Friday, July 24th, throughout the village of East Aurora. The summer event will feature sidewalk sales, merchant pop-ups, promotions, refreshments, and interactive experiences hosted by participating local businesses along Main Street and surrounding side streets. Organizers said the event is designed to create a relaxed and lively summer atmosphere that encourages residents and visitors to explore East Aurora's shops, restaurants, and small businesses. The event is about delighting in the creativity, charm, and collective craftsman character that is so unique to East Aurora, said Carrie Evans, who is the special events coordinator at the Chamber. We wanted to create an inviting experience that feels lively yet easygoing, utilizes the walkability of the village, and encourages visitors to slow down and spend time at our unique shops and restaurants. The event footprint stretches along Main Street from Olean Street to the Circle and expands into several surrounding streets, including Olean, Pine, Church, Elm, Riley, South Grove, and Oakwood Avenues. Organizers said participating businesses will be listed on the Chamber website at Greater East Aurora Chamber of Commerce. Sun to Sunset in EA is coordinated with Reunion Weekend and serves as the kickoff to the 57th Annual East Aurora Summer Street Festival on Saturday, July 25th. Village businesses interested in participating can register on the website at eanycc.com. Registration information is available at Sun to Sunset in EA registration. Romance, comedy, and backstage chaos take center stage in Shakespeare in Love. Romance, mistaken identities, and theatrical chaos come to the stage when Shakespeare in Love opens Friday, May 29th at Aurora Players. Based on the Academy Award-winning film and adapted for the stage from the screenplay by Mark Norman and Tom Stoppard, the production imagines the love story that inspires Romeo and Juliet. The play follows a young William Shakespeare as he struggles with writer's block while attempting to write his next play. His fortunes change after meeting Viola de Lesseps, a noblewoman who secretly dreams of performing on stage despite laws banning women from acting in Elizabethan England. The production features a large ensemble cast portraying actors, nobles, theater managers, and historical figures in 1593 London. Its play-within-a-play structure allows audiences to experience both the romance and the frantic process of creating theater. Director Mark Ruffino said the production captures the excitement and joy of live performance. This story reminds us of why we love theater, Ruffino said. It's a story of love, music, laughter, dancing, sword fighting, and there's even a scene-stealing dog. Tickets are $20 for general admission, $18 for seniors ages 62 and older, and $16 for students. Tickets are available through the website at auroraplayers.org or by calling the box office at 716-687-6727. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now from Lost and Found, as told to Shelby Deck. Integrating memories into a new life. When you still feel their presence and they are so much a part of you, you can't ever lose them all the way. Please tell me about your grief. Who are you grieving? I am grieving the loss of my husband, Richard, who died on New Year's Day 16 months ago. I was with him for 50 years. We met playing pond hockey in Orchard Park. We had a fairy tale marriage filled with so much fun, raising our 2 children, going to jazz concerts and sharing music in general, antiquing, old house restoration, Buffalo history, trips to Niagara-on-the-Lake, creek walks, beach walks, and Muskoka days. About 12 years ago, he developed rheumatoid arthritis and was in terrible pain a lot of the time. It limited what he could do, but he never complained. It was hard for him, having been a track star in high school. He always kept forging onward. His death was sudden and unexpected. We had been in Niagara-on-the-Lake for the Christmas holiday just a few days before. He was feeling a little off, so I took him to the doctor. All was well except for a fever. The next day, he was gone. What does no one tell you about this experience? No one tells you how much it hurts. Your heart actually aches. It feels like I have a huge hole in my heart. It is just the emptiest feeling. You no longer feel like a complete person. No one tells you that couples you have been friends with for decades will no longer ask you to do things with them. It's a very lonely place to be. When you have been with your soulmate for this long, you think alike, talk alike, and read each other's minds. It's such an empty space when they are gone. No one tells you when it's okay to part with their clothes, their books, etc. It's torture to part with his things. It's like giving up pieces of him. What are some helpful things people have said or done? I have some dear friends that have been my saving grace. I don't feel like a third wheel when I'm with them. We talk about my husband and keep his memory alive, and it helps me not feel so lonely. I cry frequently, no matter where I am or what I'm doing. These waves of grief come over you that you can't control. I feel better when someone says, "I've been thinking about you," or "I've been keeping you in my prayers." Writing down happy memories is helpful too. I also have amazing friends in my pickleball group who have all been so good to me. I am blessed to have them, as I am with Jane, my longtime yoga instructor. What are hurtful things people have said or done? The first 3 months, everyone surrounds you and tries to help, but then they disappear. Our kids have been so thoughtful, but other family members have taken a back seat, even my closest relatives. I know everyone is busy, but it really hurts. People ask how you are doing. How the heck do you think I'm doing? They say they know how you feel. No, you don't. People avoid you because they feel uncomfortable. But believe me, I feel uncomfortable too. I think people just get nervous. I mean, I can tell people see me and they turn. They run away because they don't want to talk about it. Sometimes I feel like I have leprosy. You'd be amazed by the people you have always done things with, and it's like, poof, they're gone. I tell people all the time, if you're going out to dinner, call me, because 6 to 8 p.m. is the worst freaking part of the day for me. I don't hear from them. What are some resources or routines that you have found beneficial? Staying busy is the key to my sanity. I got a dog 2 weeks after my husband died. It had been planned. And she has saved my life with our walks and snuggle times. I do weights and aerobics 3 times per week, pickleball 1 or 2 times per week, and yoga. I have been a real estate agent for over 40 years, and I continue to work full-time. I am a board member at the West Falls Center for the Arts, a local not-for-profit that does wonderful work, and I volunteer at the ROC. I am also starting to get involved with a group called Soaring Spirits for widows and widowers. They are a very loving and kind group that do a lot together socially. I went to my first meeting and sadly knew several people. I had no idea. I am not trying to run away from my grief, but being busy every day maybe keeps me ahead of it. These activities make me feel a little more supported, a little more balanced, and a little more like my old self, even though you will never, ever be your old self again. This column is called Lost and Found. Do you feel like you have lost your person? I have lost my person, my boyfriend, my soulmate, and the love of my life. When you still feel their presence, and they are so much a part of you, you can't ever lose them all the way. They are part of your DNA. We would wake up in the morning and start saying the same thing at the same time. You just think alike and talk alike. You become one person. A friend sent me a book about reaching the other side. I try to be open to everything because I want to see him so badly. I do feel his presence a lot, like he is watching over me. I keep a picture of him in my car, and when I'm driving through a blizzard or something like that, I'll say, "You better keep an eye on me." I kind of feel like he knew his days were numbered. Months before he passed, he cleaned out the garage, the basement, and the hill behind our house, where there are lots of rocks from an old barn foundation. He built stacked rock statues all over the yard, which symbolize safe passage. The more I look back, the more I wonder. He just loved being outside. He also wrote 2 books after he retired that I recently had published. One example is a collection of snippets from 1800s newspaper articles in Western New York history that discuss horse thieves, robbers, and similar topics. The second book is about the Gwyn air car that has a fascinating historic link to East Aurora. It felt so good to get those projects to completion for him. He was such a kind, thoughtful, generous, and passionate person, a wonderful husband, and an incredible dad. I was so lucky to have him. I miss him every day and treasure the time I had with him. For people just starting on this path, what would you like them to know? Life will never be the same, but you must make the best of it. Stay busy, keep the memory alive, and surround yourself with people who love and care about you. The thing nobody talks about is how alone you are, especially after 50 years. We had so much fun together, and I have a lifetime of happy memories. Not everyone gets to have that. I always want to keep his memory alive. Last August, my son and I went to our cottage in Muskoka for the first time without Richard. It was bittersweet. My son found an ad in Muskoka magazine about a brand new reproduction ski boat, and then found one for sale 45 minutes away. We went to look at it, and that was it. We both felt Richard's presence and his blessing, and we bought the boat. It's time to make some new and happy memories with our family. And now from Chew on This by Holly R. Layer, Getting the Most Nutrition from Fresh Produce. I've come to the conclusion that the longest season in Western New York isn't actually winter. It's what I call not spring. It's that time when it's supposed to be spring, but it's persistently cold and wet. Yes, we'll get a few teasers of warm temps and sunshine, but it's neither spring nor winter. Just last week I needed gloves for a morning walk. But despite what feels like the eternal not spring we've been having this year, I'm going to truck right along with our seasonal summer produce guide. Early summer. Summer? We haven't even had spring yet. Produce in western New York looks more like asparagus and rhubarb, featured last month, as well as peas, beets, cruciferous varieties, greens, and strawberries. Peas, both the snow and snap variety, are nutritional powerhouses. They are surprisingly high in protein, with almost 3 grams per 3.5-ounce serving. While whey protein powder is a great option for most people, protein powders made with pea protein are widely available and are also good options. Peas are also high in fiber, as well as vitamins A, C, and K. They contain potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure. Toss snow peas into Asian noodle dishes, along with sliced peppers, broccoli, and mushrooms. Beets are another nutritional powerhouse available in early summer. Beets are high in folate, providing 20% of our daily value in a 100-gram serving. Folate contributes to cell growth and heart health. Additionally, beets are high in manganese, a lesser known but also important nutrient. Manganese is important for bone formation and metabolism. Believe it or not, beets are one of my daughter's favorite foods. If you're new to beets, try buying one of the fresh package options in the produce section. We love the ginger variety, as it does just as well in a smoothie as it does in a salad. Cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli and cauliflower, are also good choices from the farmer's market. They are both high in vitamins, especially A, C, and K, with broccoli being a bit higher, as well as higher in protein and fiber. Cauliflower is lower in calories and more digestible, which is a benefit for those sensitive to cruciferous vegetables. While I know we all need the convenience of the steam-in-the-bag variety, try roasting your broccoli next time. It's worth the 20 minutes in the oven. Last but certainly not least, strawberries. It feels like years since I've had a fresh strawberry. Did you know strawberries are actually higher in vitamin C than an orange? They are also high in manganese, just like beets. Because strawberries are high in fiber and water, they are low on the glycemic index, which means they don't tend to spike your blood sugar. Berries are so versatile. They do well on their own, in a salad, or baked in muffins. For truly ripe strawberries, I like to simply cut them up and enjoy. No sugar necessary. And now, Hair It From Me by Cheryl McGuire. What You Mean to a Hairstylist. For more than 40 years behind the chair, I've learned that being a hairstylist is about so much more than hair. Yes, we cut, color, style, and transform appearances, but the real beauty of this profession comes from the relationships we build with our clients over time. Many clients become like extended family. We watch children grow up, celebrate marriages and graduations, and sometimes walk beside people through illness, loss, and difficult seasons of life. Some clients stay with the same stylist for decades, while others return years later and are surprised that we still remember their favorite haircut or exact hair color formula by heart. That connection never really fades. A salon chair often becomes a place of comfort and trust. I always say, what's said in the smock stays in the smock. Clients share stories, worries, joys, and private struggles because they feel safe. While many people think stylists help clients feel better, the truth is that our clients help us just as much. Simply being able to listen, connect, and care for one another creates a bond that goes far beyond appearance. As stylists, we carry those conversations with us long after the workday ends. It's not unusual to think about a client at home, wonder how a medical treatment went, or feel genuinely happy when something wonderful happens in their life. Our hearts work overtime because we truly care. This career has been one of the greatest blessings of my life. It has brought me friendships, support systems, motivation, and personal growth through meeting people from every background and personality imaginable. I honestly cannot imagine where I would be without this profession or without the loyal clients who have supported me over the years. Those clients gave me more than a career. They helped provide the life I've built, food on the table, a home, transportation, and security for my family. For that, I remain deeply grateful and humbled. There's something incredibly rewarding about helping people feel confident in themselves. I often call my clients my walking art. Being able to transform someone's appearance and watch them smile at themselves in the mirror never gets old. When people leave feeling beautiful, refreshed, or more confident, it reminds us that we are exactly where we are meant to be. Of course, this profession also comes with physical demands. Years of standing take a toll on the shoulders, back, neck, legs, feet, and hands. Many stylists work through aches and pains without saying much because the work still matters to us. Seeing our clients walk through the door makes it worthwhile every single day. In a world increasingly driven by technology, I truly believe this is one profession that can never be replaced by a computer or robot. Hair is personal. Consultations are not only about choosing a flattering style, but understanding someone's personality, lifestyle, confidence level, and daily routine. A stylist who has known a client for years understands what will work for them and sometimes what won't, because trust has already been built. That trust often extends to entire families. We style parents, children, grandchildren, neighbors, and friends. The relationships continue to grow one conversation and one appointment at a time. At the end of the day, hairstyling is not simply a beauty service. It is human connection, compassion, creativity, and care. And after all these years, I still feel honored every time someone chooses to sit in my chair. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And now let's turn to the Opinions and Ideas page. Editorial: A Community Approach to Parking in East Aurora. As the summer season ramps up, East Aurora will once again welcome visitors from across Western New York. Weekly events, festivals, shopping, dining, and community gatherings bring energy and economic activity into the village. With that excitement, however, comes a familiar challenge: parking. Most visitors arrive by vehicle, and in the coming months, our streets and parking lots will quickly fill. While there are many private lots that generously allow public parking, there are also others that limit access and prevent overflow parking. As the busy season approaches, some private property owners should reconsider whether restricting unused spaces truly benefits the community or even their own businesses. East Aurora thrives because it is a destination village. People come not only for one specific store or restaurant, but for the entire experience of walking through a welcoming community. Many communities do not have what we have, which is a walkable main street. When parking becomes difficult, frustrating, or confusing, it affects every business and event in town. A visitor who cannot find a convenient place to park may decide not to stop at all, or it may deter them from returning in the future. Opening private lots to non-customers during peak events would demonstrate community spirit and cooperation. We see this type of cooperation with the lots behind Vidler's 5 and 10 and the lot behind Barbill on the West End. Both of these lots have agreements with the village to be open to the public in exchange for maintenance, such as snow removal, and this agreement works. What benefits neighboring businesses and community events ultimately benefits the entire village economy. More accessible parking encourages longer visits, increased foot traffic, and a better experience for residents and tourists alike. This is also an opportunity for village officials and the local Chamber of Commerce to encourage a more communal approach to parking, with lot owners who, at the time, prefer to remain closed. Partnerships, shared lot agreements, and clear public messaging could go a long way toward easing congestion and improving the visitor experience during the busiest months of the year. East Aurora has built a reputation on being a welcoming destination in Western New York. Maintaining that reputation requires cooperation from everyone: business owners, community, leaders, and residents alike. Sometimes something as simple as opening a parking lot can help keep the village open and inviting to all. And from readers' opinion, history knows obscene wealth is corruption. Dear editor, our country was formed by leaders with the fervent belief human beings had a right to their lives, which did not exist as long as King George had the sole power to end their lives at his discretion. This utter lack of a right to life and the liberty to protect it was proven by King George's list of the men who he would have hung after he had lied to them, telling them they would be spared if they surrendered and came to terms he accepted. In their wisdom and deep knowledge of history, example, European kings and emperors, our founders knew that to achieve this freedom for our new country's men and women, they needed protection from the concentration of power in the hands of one person or a few. They knew the truth about human nature before Lord Ashton said in 1887, "Power corrupts, and obscene power, absolute power, corrupts absolutely." Their answer was the gift they risked their lives to give us, our Constitution. Its key to success was the balance of powers in three branches of government: executive, legislative, elected by the people, a revolutionary, liberty-based concept. Note, it was based on the individual person, not corporations like the British East India Corporation our founders hated. See the Boston Tea Party. And a judiciary chosen by the legislature in totally open debate by the people's representees, with hoped-for qualities of independence, fairness, and keen knowledge of legal documents and our Constitution. Today, this crucial freedom-giving balance has been destroyed by a strategy successfully pursued by the billionaires over decades to create the gross wealth inequality that Republicans Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt deeply feared due to its ability to end our democracy. The wealth inequality today, much worse than the Gilded Age, is so outrageously obscene it is hard for most of us to comprehend. Money is raw power destroying the foundation of our democracy. It is strangling the middle and lower classes while establishing a plutocracy for their further wealth and power aggrandizement. This astronomical mountain of wealth and the incredible power it commands is what the people of the home of the brave, land of the free, must defeat if we are to remain free, unless some Republicans in Congress catch courage and make our job easier by standing with the people, not the money. And that's by Tom Casey of East Aurora. And now, mulch, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Dear editor, mulching your garden and vegetable beds is recommended to protect the soil, control weeds, hold in moisture, as well as give the garden a finished look. One of the greatest benefits of mulches is that they can break down and add nutrients and organic matter to the soil. There are many options for mulching. Some are more effective than others. One of the new trends is colored, dyed mulch. People like the look of it, but don't consider the ecological implications. One of the biggest concerns with dyed mulch is not the dyes themselves. Most colored mulches are dyed with harmless dyes, like iron oxide-based dyes for red or carbon-based dyes for black and dark brown. Some cheap dyed mulches, however, can be dyed with harmful or toxic chemicals. The ingredient information on the bag should tell you what's in it. The biggest problem with dyed mulch is surprisingly not the dye, but the wood that's used. While most natural mulches, like double or triple shredded mulch, cedar mulch, or pine bark, are made directly from trees, many colored mulches are made from recycled wood like old pallets, decks, crates, etc. These scraps of treated or manufactured lumber products often have been treated with various chemicals and heavy metals to prevent deterioration. The chemicals can include chromium, copper, aluminum, arsenic, creosote, lead, and formaldehyde. These chemicals can leach out and exist in the soil for a very long time. Because of this, dyed mulches break down much slower than natural mulches. When wood breaks down, it requires nitrogen to do so. Colored mulch in gardens can rob the plants of the nitrogen they need to survive. Healthy soils need inputs of organic matter to help maintain their structure and water-retaining abilities. Good mulch, like compost, straw, or shedded leaves, are ideal for mulching as well as soil development. Even ground tree mulch is better than dyed mulch because it doesn't contain contaminants, although it doesn't break down easily or do much to improve the soil. All that being said, it is possible to buy dyed mulch that is made of tree wood and dyed with natural dyes. You need to do research to find such products, which will be much more expensive. My attitude is, why bother when natural mulches are much better, more effective, and not harmful to the soil? For many years I have used mulch leaves as mulch. It's free and nature's way of protecting and improving the soil. Think of the woods and meadows. Only Mother Nature mulches there, and the soil is protected and improved at the same time. If you haven't purchased mulch yet, stay away from the dyed products. And that's by Lynn Camara, East Aurora. Grid cannot carry the proposed stamp project. Dear Editor, in the May 7th edition of the East Aurora Advertiser, page A7 eliminated a very substantial number, 417. The article, Electric Grid Faces Narrow Reliability Margin Heading into Summer, shared that the New York Independent System Operator, NYISO, reported that the reliability margin under baseline conditions is 417 megawatts, the lowest margin in recent history. I want to bring your attention that there is one project not too far north of you proposing to pull 500 megawatts from the grid. I encourage you to learn all you can about what is happening at the Science, Technology, and Advanced Manufacturing Park, STAMP, site in Genesee County. And that is by Jacob Clark of East Aurora. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from the May 21st issue of the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10 a.m. Your reader has been Cheryl Ferris. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes